Hi, Leticia. I was just getting ready to text you and say, try again. There was a little bit of a problem. Oh, here's Gigi. Hi. Um,
All right.
Hello.
hi, we're getting everyone. Hi, Shyra. And Linda. Hi, how are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Morning. We're good. We're good. We're good. Yay, here we are. So we had a little bit of technical difficulties this morning, but that happens. And we're back on. We're good. We're good. We're good. So Shyra's on a birthday road trip. So
Okay.
that's you. Well, we'll do a couple seconds of grounding because I know you're all and about. Hi, Teresa. Saying hi to everyone as they come on. Oh, we lost Shyra again. I think she's gonna have to come back on. Oh no, there she is. She's up in the corner. Sorry, I didn't see. She's like, I was always here. So where are you now, Shyra?
Right now I am in Ventura, and after this meeting, I'm driving straight to San Diego.
Nice, 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 nice. So, okay, cool. Well, let's just, everyone, if we don't, take a couple of deep breaths to be here in this moment, to be grateful to be together. Women empowering each other on a journey, whatever our journey takes us. So let's take 3 deep breaths. One of my favorite quotes from the Desiderata is, you are like the trees and you are no less than the trees and the stars, and whether or not it is clear to you, the universe is unfolding as it should, and you have a right to be here. So I wanted to start with that idea as Shyra goes into the astrology, to remind us that those star sisters, those planets, those moons, they're all reflecting our bright light that lives within ourselves. So as she's explaining the nodes and the different things, we're here to help you understand it. And if at the same time, Shyra is very knowledgeable, so some of these things might take a little bit of time to sink in for others. So let's just allow sometimes that mystery to do its thing. So go ahead, Shyra, if you're ready, let's have you start.
Okay, awesome. I hope everyone can hear me. As Jamie said, I am on the road. But to start off and kick off March, we had Mars enter Gemini. What this means is the planet of anger, aggression, motivation, drive enters Gemini, which is the multifaceted, multitasking master, who is very knowledgeable on many different subjects, kind of the jack of all trades. So during this time, we're able to pick up more projects, we're more easily able to multitask, and we are looking for variety. Next up, we had the third quarter moon, otherwise known as the last quarter moon, last night. This was in Capricorn. The third quarter moon is kind of the downhill climb of the whole moon cycle. It is after the culmination, it is kind of settling, relaxing, letting go, and clearing any last minute entanglements for the next moon cycle. Being in Capricorn, this means focusing on what you have, that foundation, that structure, and kind of putting to rest, or even to death, if you will, what is no longer serving you. Then next, I have all my aspects here in my planner here. Then on next Saturday, the 13th, we have the new moon in Pisces. So this is the beginning of the new moon cycle. This is where you set your intentions. You really hone in what you want to do for the next month. In Pisces, this is themes of self-sacrifice, agape, unconditional love, things that you can put others before yourself, but be careful of going overboard, of course. We all are more emotionally intuitive, able to tune into the otherly realm, as Pisces is the last zodiac sign of the wheel. So they are closest to the next reality, if you will. So I really advise taking this night, or actually it'll be this morning at 2:23 a.m. Pacific time, to take a bath. It is a water sign. Make some moon water if you can. Just let go, release, set your intentions. And Pisces is also known for their creativity. So take some time to do some art, to journal, whatever your talent is, feed into that. Then next, we have Mercury, the planet of communication, entering Pisces, the Pisces party, as I call it. It is Pisces season. So this week, starting on the 15th, this is when we'll start to change into a more creative mode. Instead of thinking logically and doing math and facts, we're basing on emotion. Things can get a little blurry as Pisces is ruled by Neptune, which dissolves all boundaries. So think of murky waters. It's kind of hard to see, but you can feel your way through the trail. And then next, what we have is Airy season begins on the 20th. This starts at 2:38 a.m. Pacific time. This is the beginning of the new year cycle. I kind of think of it as the astrological new year. So when the sun enters Aries, things are fresh, things are new. We have this newfound fiery energy. Aries is a fire sign. To start new projects, just also know Aries is impulsive. Really great project starters, but not so much project enders. So for this month, I always recommend taking time to sit with yourself on any long-term commitments. It may seem fun and exciting now, but will you like it in a month from then? Then what we have going into the end of the month is the full moon in Libra. This will be at 11:50 a.m. again, Pacific time. So full moon in Libra, this is the culmination, wrapping up of the cycle, and thinking of balance. Okay, where have you gotten so far? What is bringing you happiness? What is not bringing you happiness? And really focusing on your one-on-one relationships. What brings value to you? What doesn't? Be careful of indecision because we have the ability to see both sides of the story, so it can be hard sometimes to choose which one is best. So those are all of the placements for the month. I think I did skip the first quarter moon, so let me go back to that guy. Yeah, so we do have the first quarter moon on March 21st, so right after Aries season, on the vernal equinox, spring equinox. So this is a time to check in after the new moon, after you've set those intentions, kind of put your mind on what you'd like to do, and say, okay, I've done this. What do I need to do to get to my goal? What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? So yeah, that is all I have astrologically. I am about to log off early, I'm so sorry to say. But I do have some news that I'd love to share with you guys. First, I want to say thank you to Jamie and Megan. You both have been great to work with. It's been a learning experience, and it's just been nice to connect with other women in the spiritual community. This is my last hour of Magick. I'm going to be focusing more on my personal endeavors and personal projects. Of course, I'm still doing astrology, so feel free to follow me on my Instagram or my website blog, same post. I also have a Patreon, so patreon.com/Shyra astrology. And you can also check me out on TikTok. I've been exploring with that. But yeah, it's been really great. I've met some wonderful women just through you guys tuning in. So it's been great. And I think Megan's up next, so I'm going to hand it off to her. But if you have any questions, just go to my website. I have a contact page. It's shyraastrology.com.
Wait, Shyra, if anyone has a question about these moons, do you have a couple of minutes for them? Anyone to like wave their hands and say, maybe like 5 minutes? Or maybe even if people have that much time. What?
So Linda said happy birthday. Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot. Linda's one of the people I've met through here, and she's amazing. But yeah, I have a few minutes to answer any questions asked if you drop them in the chat right now.
So while people might be typing, I'm going to say a thing I've learned about the Mars. Another thing, in addition to how we normally know it as the aggressor or the Aries kind of warrior energy, it originally, a very long time ago, as all our gods and a relationship with the divine has changed. Mars originally also meant to grow, so it was an agricultural energy as well. Like we often just kind of quickly associate it with that anger and that warrior and like that badass. I don't know, like if anyone read oh my God, it was right after Harry Potter. It was a series of books where, oh my God, The Lightning Thief. And the Aries energy was like a total hell's angel, rode a motorcycle, that whole thing. But what they kind of missed is that nuance that he's also the gardener. So when you look at what Shyra was saying regarding, you know, us coming into Aries and that switching into from an intuitive watery place to this fire energy, it's also the fire of growth. It's also that fire of our inner drive, which fits right into everything that she was saying. So I don't know, it looks like, did anyone write anything in the chat? Anybody have any questions for Shyra?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Shyra.
Thank you, Shyra.
All right. Yeah, thanks everybody. Hopefully
Happy birthday.
See your faces again
Have a
soon.
happy
Thank
birthday.
you. All right, bye.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. So I'm going to be talking about stress today. And my girlfriends and I, we did a book club for this book. It's called Burnout, The Secret to Unlocking the Stress Cycle. So what I'm going to be talking about really is only in chapter 1. This book is amazing, so I suggest it. I will post it later. Okay. So stress is inevitable. It's been a stressful year, but we're going to continue to have stress no matter what. But what this book talks about is that many of us get stuck in stress. And stress is just awful, as we all know. It makes us sick. It ruins our immune system, our digestive system. It causes us to have heart problems, depression, anxiety, infertility, everything, right? 77% of people that experience stress said it affects their physical health. 73 say it affects their mental health. And 48 says it affects their sleep. So the thing is that many of us are not completing our stress cycle, which is leaving us exhausted, therefore burned out. So one of the most stressful times in my life, when I was thinking about all this, was when I was 30 and I unexpectedly lost my dad. At the time, I had a 4-year-old, I was working, I had a 6-month-old. It was hard. But when I lost him, I cried a lot. I talked about it a lot. I saw a medium. I joined CrossFit. And at the same time, unfortunately, that I lost my dad, 4 friends, like months apart from me, all lost their dads. And one of my good friends that had lost her dad, she just tried to hide it. She didn't want to talk about it. She just didn't want to deal with it. And she got stuck, just like this book talks about how we get stuck in our stress. And so she's still stuck. You know, it's been 10 years. She still can't talk about it. She still was just not able to progress. So I just think, just like the grieving process, the stress process is just so important that you go through it. So I'm going to this book does get a little technical, so I'm not going to go into all the technical terms that they do, but there's 2 things. There's your stressors and then there's your stress. So your stressors are things like COVID-19, like your parents getting sick, your work, just all that kind of stuff, all the external stuff. And then what your stress is how you deal with that. And so we've been taught that if you deal with a stressor, then you should be fine. Like, example, your boss talks down to you in front of coworkers. You're hurt, you're embarrassed, so then you calmly tell your boss, you know, that really hurt my feelings and I just didn't think it was appropriate. Your boss acknowledges it, you know, says, I apologize, I won't do this again. Okay, you dealt with the stressor, but you feel better, but you still feel like you don't feel 100% better. And that's what they talk about. Really, yes, deal with the stressor, but also deal with that stress, deal with those emotions. Go through that tunnel to see the bright side at the end. Okay, so how do we complete the stress cycle? You have to do something that tells your body that it's safe. So there's a bunch of different things that you can do. So number one is moving your body. It doesn't have to be running a marathon. It doesn't have to be something, that if you don't like exercise, it could just be stretching, it could just be tensing, but you need to move your body. It's one of the most effective ways actually to get the stress out. Number two is breathing. So deep, slow breaths in through your nose and out so that your belly contracts. This strategy is actually the most effective when it's not a really high stressor. Positive interactions, just be around people that lift you, that make you feel good inside. And then also it's just giving compliments to people, saying hi to people on the walk. Sometimes I think about some of the people that are always giving compliments. They're like the happiest people I know. So that's the fourth one is laughter. Now, not like fake socially appropriate laughs, real belly laughs. So watching a movie that you know is going to make you laugh, or even talking to a friend about something that happened in the past that made you laugh. And then number five is affection. So I don't know if anybody, but my husband and I did the John Gottman series. And so it's the 6-second kiss. It does feel awkward in the beginning, but it's good. But the other one is a 20-second hug. Now this one they said could be just the most effective. So you can do this with anybody, and it's long, I know, but it's really just putting your kind of weight into somebody else and just letting it go. I am a leader for my daughter's Girl Scout troop, and they're these twins in our troop, and they're just the sweetest, like most loving girls. And we did this whole thing about stress. And I said, what helps you? And one of the little girls just said, oh, it seems so genuine. She just said, I just go to my mom and dad and I just hug them forever, just the biggest hugs. And I feel so good after. So try that. It doesn't have to be with your partner. It could be with anybody, but just a 20-second hug. And then number 6 is just crying. Just let it out. Yeah, this may not solve the problem, but it feels good. So just this week, my daughter, she just started back at dance, and she went into dance, and one of the girls that she was friends with was ignoring her, and she came in and she was just like, I don't know what what's wrong with me? Why is she ignoring me? But I could tell she wanted to cry, but she was just holding it and just tense. And I just said, just cry, just let it, cry. I get it. It's okay. She hurt your feelings. She was ignoring you. And it was like, as soon as she said, what? And as soon as I said that, her whole body just went down. And yeah, she only cried for like a minute, but I could just tell that that's just what she needed. And they say that if you're crying, maybe try not to think about what you're crying about, but just thinking about how therapeutic that crying is. And then number 7 is being creative. So I know we talked a lot about that last month, but it's just really important to be creative. And then it says, like, how do you know that you've completed this cycle? Let the stress out. It's like knowing that after you're full. So I think about, like, on Friday, I had a really stressful day with some parents at work. And I was like, I have to go on my walk. And so I went on a walk, but I was just climbing the hills in my canyon. And because every hill that I climbed, I felt like, because it was hard at the top, so I just kept climbing different hills until I finally felt like, okay, yes, I feel the stress is actually gone from today. And then just one more thing to talk about that they talked about is that one of the reasons that women have such high burnout is because we experience something called the human giver syndrome. We feel that our job is to just give to others. So just remember to say yes to yourself and to say no to others. I think that's just so important. And then the other thing that I just wanted to touch base on is that there are 3 ways that we deal with threat or stressors, and that's the fight, flight, or freeze. And they just talk about how there's so much shame about if you do freeze sometimes when there's a stressor. And don't shame yourself. And however you deal with stress, kind of turn into that with love and compassion. And just don't shame yourself, because we just all deal with it differently. And then lastly, one way also to deal with stress is to understand that you don't just give yourself self-care. We also need to be, it's a collective energy to help other people. And I was just thinking about this, about healthcare workers right now, especially the ones that are, I mean, yes, things are so much better, but that are working in the ICU, and they're just in huge burnout.
Oh no, what happened to Megan? Okay, so while she's frozen.
So I'm just trying to think of how I can help them with their Sam. Hold on. Am I there?
Yeah, you were there. You just stopped right when you were talking about the ICU and the whole collective self-care, like the community care. You were on that part. And she's freezing again. Oh, no, she's back.
Okay. I was just saying, okay, I'm in Finley's room now. Okay, I am done. But like, as we've been trying, we want to promote other women. And so this month I want to promote my good friend Vanessa. She's on here. She is just amazing and I just love her. So I want to talk about Vanessa. She has been running circles for the last 7 years, and I go to them and I just always feel so much better just when I'm in her presence, but also after circles. She just does an amazing job. So she's been running circles during COVID, but just as a small group. So now that the numbers are a little bit better, I'm going to post some information if anybody's in Orange County. She is hosting one this weekend, but only has 10 spots. So I'll be posting that information. And then she's also a wellness woman coach. So I'll be posting all her information. I just love Vanessa and I always feel so much better after I talk to her. So there's Vanessa right there.
Vanessa, would you like to take a few minutes to tell us a little bit about your philosophy and kind of, how you maybe develop your circles, when the one that you're thinking of, like, because I always do a prep before I do my public rituals or circles or whatnot. So like, what's your process? Can you share a little bit about your work? After you unmute yourself. Okay, good.
Hello, good morning, ladies. I'm so thankful to be here. Hi, Linda. Yes, thank you so much. So yeah, like Megan said, I've been leading circles for a while now, and it started actually when my oldest is almost 6, and when I was pregnant with him, I really just felt this call and this need for myself to create like a community experience with women, to have like a sacred time, to really gather together, to pray, to meditate, to hold each other in a really high state of just like divine presence, and hold a really high vibration of just positive, empowered knowing. And I started meeting on the new moon. So the circles that I lead are moon circles, with the intention that following the moon cycles helps us be one, in tune with ourselves as women, our own process of continual development, of shedding and rebirth, and using the cycles of the moon, specifically the new moon, for intention setting, for, kind of doing and a personal inventory of what's up for us currently in life. What is serving us? What do we want to keep, promoting and growing within ourselves, and what do we maybe want, what is not serving us anymore, what are we willing to look at and see, you know, maybe it's time to say goodbye to this pattern, this belief, this idea. And we do this in a really, I feel like circle is so interesting because as much as someone can talk about it, I feel like it's such an experiential thing. So if any of this sounds interesting to you, please reach out to me or Megan or Linda. Jamie's also experienced a circle of mine too, if you'd like some info. But sorry, to end, that was a little bit about kind of circle in general, but to answer your question and how I prep, I do follow some, I'm not a total astro geek, but enough to that it piques my interest, and I love the relationship between astrology and the moon and how it can inform us. So what I tend to do is I look at the astrology for that new moon and what signs influence and kind of what general themes I see come up in a couple of the teachers that I follow, and then I kind of just intuitively decide what theme speaks to me and feels good to kind of bring to circle. And we, like I said, circle is usually a little bit of everything. We do prayer, we do meditation, we do intention setting. We'll do different types of exercises, mirror work, dancing. Sometimes it's like, it's a craft, or it usually involves some kind of a discussion. And then we'll pull cards, we'll pull oracle cards and eat together, drink together. It's just a really fun time. So for anyone who is new to that idea or sounds excited by that idea, like I said, feel free to reach out to any of us and we can get you more information on how you can participate.
So I have another question. Since you're saying that your intention is to help women find themselves more in tune with the moon and our cycles of just our menses, is that very much like letting something go and then creating again, and in this continual cycle of death and rebirth? Since you've been doing this now upward of 6 years, how has your spiritual life changed since leading other women in circle?
You know what's really interesting is that it's, oh gosh, I feel like sorry, I don't mean to stump you. You can take no. I just think that one of the reasons that I felt really truly called to do this, to start my own circle and just be like, I don't, you know, at the beginning, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just felt like I need and want to create this experience and create this space mostly for myself. And so, and what I've learned is that there is so much like true magic in gathering with other women, because when we truly like harness our collective power and we really tap into that, it's a real thing. It is a real thing to be ignited and inspired from within and realizing, oh my gosh, I am not alone. So I think the way that it's changed my own spiritual practice and infused my spirituality is just by reminding me that, number one, I am not alone. And that when I muster the courage to be vulnerable, to show up, to share, and to be open to experiencing this coming together of with other women, that it is so healing. It is so healing. And you know, Megan's been coming to my circles since I very first started. And I'm so grateful to you, Megan, because she is just she is one of these women that helps me to continue to show up, because the reality is that life is hard. Life is hard. And we all know, like, we go through our ebbs and flows, right? Where things are good, things are okay, things are not so good, things are really bad and really shitty. And then we kind of cycle back again, you know, like all aspects of our lives are continually ebbing and flowing. And so I feel that for me, circle, it's just a touchstone, and it's something that I know it just adds to my spiritual development, because like I share with my circle sisters often, like there are times when I show up to lead a circle and I'm not in the best space and it's hard for me. And yet I was sharing like at our last circle, I was like, it's like exercise. I'm like, you know, I didn't really feel like planning for it today. And yet now that it's done and I'm here and we're in it, it's like, oh God, it just feels so good, you know? So I think too, something that I've come to as I've led these experiences is that it's not me. I feel much more of myself. I consider myself a facilitator. Like I'm just facilitating the experience for everyone to gather together, because I am not, like my word is not the end all be all. I don't know it all, but I think it's all about us learning collectively, sharing. We all have amazing wisdom in our own stories. And I think when we're brave enough to gather and dip our toe into, okay, let me be open to this experience. What is this concept of connecting with other women and in sacred ritual, we talk a lot about the divine feminine, the divine feminine aspect of life. When we really like tap into our understanding of that part of life, and how does spirit resonate with us in our life? What do we call it? What does it show up as in our life? There's just so much fullness there. So again, sorry, super long-winded. This can you tell that I like it? Because it's something that I've been doing for a while, and I feel like I could talk about forever. So again,
I appreciate that.
I can't emphasize enough. If you're interested, please hit. I know Megan's gonna send out and post my info. So if anything that I'm talking about sounds interesting or like, you know, appealing, reach out, because I'd love to share more with you.
Thank you, Vanessa. I wanted to add that part about what, as a facilitator, how you grow, just because that's been my experience, having been in this practice for a couple of decades now, and that the difference between when you're holding the space for the women to come in and when you're just one of the participants, and you are both moved by it, by the experience of bringing everyone together, but you're also the one that's holding the container as well, but then how it grows in you. So thank you. I'm going to go into my part. So I want to ask, so the very first hour of Magick, we did a worry box for those of you who were here. So this is my worry box. My Megan's babies are my babies. So this is my worry box. And then when you open up inside, it says anything is possible. So these are my little notes that I wrote to myself a month ago. And I am going to see what they say, because I don't know what they're going to say. So I said, I am worried about a betrayal from a friend. I am worried about Westport Inn, and I am worried about Sweetwater Hideaway. So these are the worries that I wrote on January 12th, 2021. I had a reading at the beginning that someone might betray me. And I think what happens is that betrayal is often when we have expectations for somebody and we think that they've betrayed us. And sometimes it's just they're not living up to how the personalities or the qualities that we put on them. And so I can look at this and note that word betrayal, because that was the question I was going to ask you. If you've ever done a worry box, it's where you write down something that you're really freaked out about. Like my partner, Joey, he had just dropped a plow on his foot right near Christmas. And so when we did this 3 weeks later, he was afraid his big toe would never grow back. And he was afraid like we hadn't had enough snow. Within a couple of weeks, we got a huge dumping of snow. And of course, his toe, with the herbal medicine that I was applying on it and the dedication that he had to his healing, his toe is almost 100%. And so I would rewrite that. I would rewrite some of those words. So sometimes when we open these boxes, we see other things. I was worried about this Westport Inn. This was a resort we were going to buy. And then I realized it was just way too much work. And even though it was way too much laundry, so I was worried because I didn't know how it was going to unfold. And then a month later, 2 months later, all the things that you're so worried about that just bring on that stress that Megan was talking about and kind of freeze you because you're so panic stricken. Within a month or two, they almost always work themselves out, at least in the form that you were worried about it at the time. And then finally, I was worried about our guest house because I thought we were going to give it up to somebody else. And I didn't want to do the Airbnb anymore. And then we had a guest who came and stayed 5 weeks. And now I have a whole new feeling about it and a whole new way that I'm going to approach it. And part of that is I'm not going to put as much of myself into it. I'm not going to allow myself to have expectations that are unrealistic. It's a job of cleaning and making beds. That's what it is. Like, that's my job. It's not any more glorious than that, you know? And so, so to worry about it, worrying is that paying that interest on a debt we might not owe. Worrying is allowing the anxiety over the situation to overcrowd us and shroud our ability to see a more clear truth. And in time, these worries are done. So we can take them and we can burn them. I'm like, ooh, do I have something to burn them with? So I like to take my worries, and I brought in a success candle. This is my cousin, Kelly, with Twin Moon Magic candles, and she makes magical intentional candles. And so I'm going to, when you have these worries, so you practice maybe writing something down and then folding it up so that you don't see it anymore, and then burning it and letting it completely go. This is the full cycle that Megan was talking about, allowing a full stress. And sometimes it takes time and tears. When our father crossed over, the woman who was hosting the ceremony told us it's going to take time and tears. When you hit a very stressful situation, you're not going to be able to just suddenly cry it all out in a short amount of time, and you won't be able to just wait it out and never cry. It's both. It's the combination of time and tears. And I had a friend who said, you don't just need to cry, you can also have an orgasm, as long as water moves. So, you know, as long as there's a release. And, you know, part of that is like, if you ever see around here, we have a lot of tumbleweeds. So if sometimes you'll see the tumbleweeds pushed up against a fence, or pushed up, or like when the river comes down and right before it gets to the ocean, like over there by Bolsa Chica, there's like a huge gate that stops all the pollution from going into the water. Right? Well, that is our stress. Our stress is all those free radicals and negative energy that's moving through us that gets blocked and gets to that point. And that release, that extra water helps dilute that and helps clear out that energy. So when you do this, one of my favorite rituals to do, and I feel like Vanessa was saying, everything, the magic, the transformation, it's very experiential. So when you experience these things, when you see taking this piece of paper, I release these. I am no longer worried about betrayal. I am smarter now to hold expectations truer to who the people are. Because we've talked for years about projecting our anger onto somebody, or projecting our frustration, you know, our shadow side, but we never talk about projecting our goodness onto another person and giving them, I saw this in Eat, Pray, Love, where the woman was talking about the man that she was dating, and she was giving him qualities that he never even had. Right? Then that's often what we can do with our partners. We think that because we're generous, they're generous. We think because we're loving, they're loving, and we project things onto other people. So seeing people for the beauty that they are and not how we want to see them, that's often where we get stuck in this idea of betrayal. And then secondly, worrying about where your future is going to go. Why? When we don't know, when there's so many possible ways that we can't even begin to see. There's so many different facets of possibilities. So what I like to say is, I release to the fire what I no longer desire. So you take your worry and you say, I release to the fire what I no longer desire. I release to the fire what I no longer desire. I release to the fire what I no longer desire. And then I put it in my little handy dandy cauldron, because I make them, so I have them handy dandy, and letting this go, letting my worries go. So that was the first hour of magic. The second one was when I talked about our herbal allies. And I'm curious if anybody had a chance to recognize whether or not there's an herb or a plant that they have a tendency to, or that they tend to work with more often, whether it's in the kitchen or the garden or self-care. Mine was rose hips as one of the ones that I had. Lavender, says Gigi. Yeah, exactly. Lavender is such a go-to. It is such an incredible go-to plant. But mine was rose hips. I collected them around. I made some oils, and that's for self-love. Eucalyptus. Oh, I know, right? Eucalyptus breathing. So you think of too, when you think of like what these plants do, you know, what they're kind of known for, whether it's lavender or eucalyptus or rose hips. So lavender is known for calming. Lavender, it means Glenda, lavender, and rosemary. Lavender, it means to wash. It means to clean. So this is like this idea of purifying your space, purifying yourself of negative thoughts, purifying yourself of anything that that has been painful or sad. Eucalyptus, of course, is helping with your breathing and our breath. One of the things I know, Megan, in that book, you were saying that they say the stress lodges in the body, and where it lodges in the body is the body speaking to you. So one of my all-time favorite books has always been Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, because it'll tell Gigi, I'm Vanessa, I see you. Yeah, I used to have that book. I had it first, and my sisters would call me, and I'd have, do you know if you remember this, Megan, when the book, I used it so much it was split in two, and I'd be like, I'm sorry, I think the first half is upstairs. So I'd run upstairs and read, okay, if your neck hurts, that means you're not looking at a situation from all sides. You know, if this part of your back hurts, that means you've got financial stress. If this part of your back hurts, it means you're giving more than you have to give, and you need to slow that down. So having herbal allies is another way to have that idea, a ritual that Vanessa is pulling together for the moons, is to having that little ritual happening all the time. You know, there are so many of us that when we were younger, we believed that we were part of the world. It did not surprise us to meet fairies in the garden. It did not surprise us that when we hugged a tree, it felt like it hugged us back. You know, and then we start to think, oh, that was crazy. Who thinks like that? And this resurgence of the divine feminine is part of getting back to being barefoot, tree hugging, dirt worshipers, and part of being with the moon, and part of being with our cycles, and recognizing that these herbal allies are our friends, and they are constantly helping guide us to our more fullest expression of ourselves. So part of getting into that full expression of ourselves is developing our intuition. Part of being in this Pisces soup, as it is right now, as the month of March, being submersed in our feelings, being just, you know, filling our cup. One of the things I do as I teach a writing class, and I match a goddess energy with a writing technique. And right now for the month of March, it is the element of water, and filling your cup, because as a creative person, it's very important that you stay filled up. In other words, that you are experiencing the world. We have this notion that someone, when they're going to write a bestseller, that they go off into their desert island or their mountaintop, and from that place of solitude, with all the time in the world, they're going to be able to write their book. Well, how many people have written a book in this pandemic? Not a lot of us. You know, like being alone and isolated is not the way to develop your creativity. Being engaged in the world, getting out there, and that's why we miss our social, we miss our concerts, we miss, you know, library book readings, you know, like whatever it is, we miss having our cup filled. And that's what we're going to be coming back to. That's what everyone's been talking about, how many people are going to get on the road and gas prices are going to go up, because we're so hungry for experience. We are so hungry right now to have this juiciness back in our lives. So part of developing that juiciness for the Pisces time period for March is developing your intuition. So I I don't know, I can't say I developed, I've identified 5 steps for developing your intuition. So the first is to slow down, period. You cannot develop your intuition. You cannot develop what I call an inner compass if you're running around. If you've got so many things on your plate, there's just no way for you to be able to hear your intuition. And that second one is to listen to the small, still voice. So the small, still voice is your intuition. It's going to be insistent, but it's not going to be that nagging worry, right? And it's not going to be the one that's panicked. Your intuition is never going to scream at you, period. Because your intuition doesn't have an investment on your success, doesn't have a definition of your success. That intuition wants you just to feel into your inner compass. That part of you just wants to be able to hear that quiet, still voice that is insistent, but not screaming. So that's the difference. That's how you can tell the difference between your ego and your intuition. The ego is the one that's always going to scream. Thank you, Gigi. The ego is always going to be screaming at you like, come on, you gotta go, quick, quick, quick. You know, buy the house, marry the man, have a baby, start that career, leave that job, whatever it is. It's going to be much louder, much more obnoxious. Whereas the intuition is going to be that quiet, still voice that says, why don't you take a nap? You know, and it allows that to come up. The third one is to trust your inner body, to trust your body, because some people will say, oh, you know, your intuition is right on when you feel it in your gut. Other people will say, I know my intuition is right on when my heart feels warm. Other people will say, my intuition is, I know that I am listening to my higher self when my crown chakra starts to tingle. So everybody has a green light and a red light, and every body has their own unique green light and red light. So just like Vanessa was saying, in her circle, she's not the end all be all. Nobody can tell you that that there is one way of interpreting your intuition. So listen into your body for your body's particular response to you. Maybe your hands tingle, maybe your feet get cold. Like, there's so many different ways that can show up. So take note of what your body is telling you, and then go outside. Going outside, you know how it, like Walter Whitman would talk about this when he was writing Walden. He would get up early in the morning, write like a fiend, and then take a 4-hour walk and allow all that he wrote to filter down. Like, if you think of like a French drain that has like all the small pebbles and the waters are just kind of coming down slowly, or a slow sediment, the wisdom, the information is coming from above and slowly moving through your head, your third eye, your throat chakra, your heart, your solar plexus, your sacral chakra, and your root chakra, and down to your feet. So that walk, that groundedness is helping all of that internal wisdom go all the way through your body. And then finally you rest, because we have out breaths and we have in breaths. Out breaths are our action. In breath is how we integrate it. Out breath is our doingness. In breath is our beingness. It's really important to develop this intuition, to practice listening to that first step. When it says turn right, you turn right. When it says, you know, go forward, you go forward, and you start to practice it, because intuition is like a muscle. And the more you use it, the stronger it will get. And that's just how it goes. That's just what it is. So I feel like knowing what you're going to find yourself saying feel a lot this month. I feel a lot. I feel, because that is the overriding energy. And however you come to it, whether you're a Pisces or a Capricorn or an Aries or whatever it is, the overriding feeling now is the beginning of spring. It's the shedding off of what no longer serves us, by not only by the moon and that energy, but also by the fact that spring is coming. And, you know, it might be a few pounds. You might be shedding, we might be shedding hair after all, you know, COVID. And I know some people are like, I just cut off 7 inches. I'm so happy. You know, it's coming into this rebirth. We're having an opportunity of rebirth on so many different ways. And it's really kind of an exciting thing to do. So, part of that intuition, I wanted to say, I wanted to bring a deck of cards, because I know, I'm sure a lot of people do the oracle cards or tarot cards and wondering how it works. So I believe the way that our oracle decks work is that we call to us the message that wants to be manifest in us. Ideas have their own energy, have their own desire to be manifest. So they will come through you. They will introduce themselves to you, and it is your chance to give them life. And if you choose not to give them life, then that idea might pass on. It's that novel that somebody else wrote. You're like, oh, I had that idea, you know. Now everyone is doing these spell kits and things like that. Like, we put those together in 2001, but the audience wasn't ready for them. And there was no internet to tell people about it. The timing wasn't there, you know. It's like, can you imagine if Tesla saw what was happening now with his electric cars after him like being attacked and everything that he went through to try to share that information? You know, the timing might not always be there. So what's important though is knowing that when we do come to the oracle deck, that's what we do. We slow down. You listen to the small, still voice, you trust your body, and then you can go outside to integrate the information or take a rest. Because a lot of times when we pull a card, we might be looking for that answer, right? That's often when we go to the card. It's like, you don't call someone until you know, like, I got a problem. You know, you come to the oracle decks, I got a problem, you know, and you're waiting for them to answer, but you have to take that moment to slow down. Otherwise, what you're going to read is something that might only be what do I want to say? It might be just pushing forward the agenda of your worry, you know. So you have to remember that when you pull a card, you're looking for that intuition to speak to you. You're not trying to justify the worry of your ego. So that's just something I really want you to kind of take a moment to think about. I'm going to pull a card for all of us, and then actually, I'm going to change my mind. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to first tell us about cord cutting, and I got 5 minutes, so I can do that. I'm going to tell us about cord cutting, and then we're going to, everyone, we're going to take a turn and say stop, and I'm going to shuffle the cards, and then when you say stop, everyone will get their own card. Okay? So first is cord cutting. Cord cutting rituals. So part of letting go is having a cord cutting ritual. And, you know, again, the whole experiential of this is really powerful and really important. So cord cutting is, we all have ties to people that we are deeply connected to. And that even accounts for the people that we've had intercourse with, anyone who we've allowed to literally be within our body. There is a connection to that person. So you could spend, you know, time cutting all the ex-lovers. You can cut from, maybe you didn't like the fact that you bite your nails. You could cut cords from that. Maybe every time you see the swastika, you're completely triggered because there's something about Nazism that just sets you free, that you're just, I mean, like upset. So you begin by, when you do a cord cutting ritual, you begin by grounding yourself and imagining yourself solidly on the earth. And then you light a candle for purity and unconditional love. And you take a picture of the person or the idea whose energy is negatively entwined with yours. And this can even be when you're fighting with your child. You know, it's not about cutting somebody out of your life. It's about cutting the particular relationship that you currently have with that person. So you tape it onto the wall in front of you, and then using real scissors, you cut the space 6 to 8 inches in front of your body and your head. So you literally cut cords. Aren't these scissors fabulous? My partner got these for me. I just asked for scissors, and he went online and got some German Maxon from Deutschland scissors, so I can literally cut my cords. So when you cut your cords, you say, Mother Earth below, Father Spirit above, guardian angels, power animals, spirit guides, and all beings of white light. I call on you to help me cut cords and ties with jealousy from this lifetime or any other lifetime. I ask that all energy, and jealousy is like fill in the blank. It was just a fill in the blank. From this lifetime or any other lifetime, I ask that all energetic connections are dissolved and transmuted to unconditional love and forgiveness. I now affirm that we are free and this process is complete, and so it is. So you cut in front of you, you cut behind you, you don't cut off your hair, you cut all around you, and you just cut off all these cords. And then if the situation is particularly difficult, like I did this with my son Kobe a couple of years ago when he and I were fighting because he wanted to cut the apron strings, literally. And I was like, no. And so I was leaning in and over-parenting, and he needed me to back off. He was in a relationship that I was afraid of. He was going to go through it anyways. And so I did this cord cutting ritual with him with his picture, 3 nights in a row. And after each cord cutting, I went and took a salt bath. And I let all the psychic debris move away from me. On the second night, his girlfriend and him broke up, and on the third night, he was on his way home from Hawaii to California. This works. It's really powerful. Again, like I said, it doesn't cut a person out of your life. It just changes the dynamic. So that said, I would like to, we're going to do this fast because we're right at the end. So Leticia, you're going to go first. I'm going to do this like Brady Bunch. So I am going to move the cards like down one at a time. And when it's like everyone take off mute so we can do this quickly, because I'll just pull the cards. Okay, so Leticia, when you say stop, that's your card, and I'll set it aside, and then we'll do everybody's, okay? Okay, you ready? So I'm going. Say stop, eventually I'll get through the whole card. Stop? Yeah? Are you good?
Hey, stop.
Okay, stop. Okay, I got yours. All right, Megan, you ready? Go.
Stop.
This one. Okay. Vanessa.
Stop.
Susan.
Stop.
All right, hold on. Gonna wait everybody here. And this is Vanessa, and this is Susan. I'm like literally stacking up like you guys are stacked up on the computing machine. All right, Teresa, go.
Stop.
You have another friend there with you?
I do, because she did one too, Valerie.
Yeah, of course. Okay, Valerie, go.
Stop.
Okay, so you're on this line. Okay. And Linda. Go, Linda.
Stop.
All right, Nicole.
Stop there, Mama.
All right, Mama. All right, Gigi.
Stop.
Okay. Oh, like they're all stacking up here. Okay, Babsy.
Stop.
Ha. Okay. And let's see, I gotta cycle these again. And Glenda. All right, here we go. All right, so.
Jamie, can we do one more? I have one more friend here. Can we do one for him?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Tell me
His
when
name's
to,
Brent.
all right,
Good
Brent.
morning.
You snuck in the women group. Tell me when to
I
stop.
love it.
Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, Leticia, encountering conflict. I don't choose sides. I take a stand. Megan, abundance is my birthright and I receive it now. Amplifying abundance. Okay. Vanessa. Sorry. My intuition flows whenever I am still. Love that. Hearing inner guidance. Okay. Susan, invoking self-realization. Each breath confirms how awake I already am. Teresa, dispelling sadness. I will feel better once I get the rest I need. And then, I'm sorry, what was your name? Our middle friend.
Sorry, Valerie.
Valerie, soothing and patience. There is nothing to do but wait. That's a tough one. But it's true. All right, Brent, was it, I think? I am willing, illuminating the truth. I am willing to see things clearly, no matter the outcome. Sorry, no matter the outcome. Okay, Linda, unhooking the past. There is nothing to regret when I learned from my past. Nicole, welcoming surrender. There is no problem, only destiny being revealed. Gigi, creating cooperation. More gets accomplished when everyone has a role to play. Barbara, exploring unity consciousness. I am one eternal light appearing as all. And Glenda, unraveling codependency. Only I have to feel good about my choices. So even though these were the individual messages for each of us, when we are in a collective, these are all messages for all of us. So this is like, we're coming here, it's 11, it's a little after 11. You know, thank you so much for this opportunity to share the wisdom that we've all gathered, that we've taken in, and then having this opportunity to share it with all of you. We're not sure what's going to happen with the Hour of Magic, so just keep in touch with our Instagram and our Facebook, and we'll let you know. I have a Monday morning cuppa that I do every morning, where it's specific to practical magic and hearth magic, and the wisdom that I'm talking about here. I take about 10-15 minutes every Monday morning to share something about what's happening and what's going on in the world, and how I interpret that through the 20 plus years of magical practice that I have had and study. So does anyone have any questions? Does anyone need their card to be, these are called this is the Healing Mantra deck by Matt Kahn. I like it because it's simple. You know, if some of you have had Oracle decks before, you're like, oh my God, that's so complicated. Like, what is all that? You know, and it's kind of nice when you just get a straightforward message. And then, of course, I have my book of spells. Thank you for Teresa. I noticed that you bought that the other day. I really, really appreciate that. And anybody else who's bought it, closing in on 20,000 copies sold, and I'm pretty stoked about that. So, but it's been a blessing to be here. Does anyone, woohoo! Yes, I know, I hear it. You know, thank you so much, everybody. If anyone wants to come off and say something, add something, please feel free to do. We're a collective here. So
I want to say something weird. Yes. Is synchronistic. Vanessa and I know each other from probably 18 years ago. Nice. When my now husband and I got a job so that Katie Beavers didn't have to go to camp alone.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it was so cool. Like halfway through, because Katie's talked about you, Susan, over the years, and we met all that time ago. And halfway through this meeting right now, I was like, wait, that's Susan. Like, life is so freaking cool. That's so funny. I love it.
I cannot wait to tell.
So good to see you, friend. So
that's funny. Like that's literally why we got that job. So it's so funny.
That's even funnier.
She was like, I don't want to go to camp, and we had like literally worked at camp, so we were like, I love camp, let's go.
That's so funny. So good to see you.
Yes, I look forward.
Thank you for this, Jamie and Megan. This has been awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great Sunday.
Thank you, everybody. Happy Sunday. Bye.
Bye.